Hey, shalom, shalom, mishpacha. Welcome to another edition of Ray Bash's Ramblings. Today I want to talk to you about the Book of Jude, or the Letter of Jude. It's a small book in the Brit Chadesha, the Renewed Covenant, and it's only, 25 verses? Yeah, just 25 verses. But I'm telling you, it's just jam-packed full of information and full of things. Who was this Jude? Well, Jude is the Greekized version of the Hebrew word Yehudah. You know, that's my name. I'm Rabbi Yehudah. And Jude had the same name. So in English you would say Judah. So this is the book of Judah. Now, who was Judah? We find out in the first couple verses that Judah was none other than the half-brother of Yeshua HaMashiach, because he says he's the brother of Yaakov, James, which is the leader of the Nazarene Sanhedrin, who also wrote the book bearing his name, the book of James, the book of Yaakov. In the book of James, there's no other book within the Brit Chadesha that screams so clearly and loudly the legitimacy and relevancy of observing and obeying and keeping Torah and walking in the footsteps of Yeshua, our Messiah, by walking and following the Torah than Yaakov does. He says things that don't be just hearers of the word, don't just hear the word, but do it. He also said faith without works is dead. And things like that. A lot of pro-Torah in that. The book of Jude, Yehudah, also is very pro-Torah, but not only that, but it also is pro-Apocrypha, if you will, because Jude specifically quotes or refers to the apocryphal book of 1st Enoch, which shows that the canon was open at that time, that not only did the Jews of that day, and the believing Jews for that matter, read the Torah and the Tanakh, but they also read extra scriptural texts, what we consider extra scriptural texts, such as the book of Jasher, which is mentioned in the Tanakh several times, and also the book of Enoch, the book of 1st Enoch. But I want to hone in on a particular verse and hopefully drash out what he means. Jude chapter 1, the only chapter there is, verse 3, says, "Beloved, I gave all diligence to write to you of the common salvation. It was needful for me to write unto you, and to exhort you that ye should earnestly contend for the faith which was once delivered to the saints." Okay, what does he mean by contend earnestly for this faith once delivered to the saints? What is the faith once delivered to the saints? Well, it's not Christianity. I can tell you that much. Christianity didn't come till later. The faith that was once delivered to the saints, he's talking about the Torah. He's talking about the faith that the Torah proclaims. He's talking about the faith that Messiah Yeshua showed us while he was on this earth, how to live and walk it out. He was talking about none other than Nazarene Judaism, the sect of Judaism that believes that Yeshua is the Messiah, that Yeshua himself basically started, or the followers after him basically started. That's the faith once delivered to the saints. That's what he's talking about, because Christianity as we know it today did not exist. Yes, they were Gentile believers, but the definition of a Christian in the first century meaning of the word is a Gentile who converts to the faith of Judaism, the sect of Judaism that believes that Yeshua is the Messiah, and it's a Torah-observant faith. So that's what a Christian meant back then. If you were a Christian, you were a Gentile convert to Judaism, to Nazarene Judaism. That's what that means. That's not what Christianity means today. So this faith once delivered to the saints is not talking about Christianity as we know it. The Brit Chadesha, the Renewed Covenant, wasn't even canonized, or it was barely even written then. They were, they were just writing it and just working on it, compiling it and things like that. So that's not what it was talking about. It was talking about the faith of the first century believers, which is Nazarene Judaism. That's what it is. That's what it can only be. Now, Jude also goes in very heavily talking about false teachers, false doctrine, and contending earnestly for the faith once delivered to the saints. So what was all this false doctrine and false teaching that Jude was worried about or concerned about? Well, he was specifically referring to people that even Rav Shaul said would come after him, that would drag people away from the Torah, that would teach antinomian, anti-law, anti-Torah doctrine, and would also teach against the divinity of Messiah Yeshua. So he goes into great detail, referencing specific Torah portions, like the Torah portion of Balak, the Torah portion of Korach, talking about those who tried to draw Israel away through antinomian or anti-Torah type doctrines and ways of thinking, feeling, acting, and believing, specifically honing in on sexual immorality and sexual lust. And then you also have the Torah portion of Korach, which talks about Lashon Hara, or speaking evil against the authorities that Yahweh has set in place for his people. Specifically, I think he's referring to the people speaking against the rabbis of particular congregations and the Beit Din, or the Nazarene Sanhedrin, if you will, that was in charge of making halakha and judgmental rulings for all the Nazarene community at that time. So that's kind of what Jude was focusing on. So that is the faith once delivered to the saints. It's not this Christianity that you see out here today that is antinomian, that is anti-Torah. He was specifically talking about the faith once delivered to the saints, which was the fulfillment, or the bringing into its fullness of the faith that the Old Testament believers had, which was Judaism. And then Yeshua came on the scene and brought it into its fullness, and it became what is known today as Nazarene Judaism. So I hope you've enjoyed this short, miniature, little commentary, if you will, on the letter in the Brit Chadasha that we call Jude, or it's Yehudah or Judah. So tune in again next time to Ray Bash's Ramblings, when who knows what I'll be talking about. So thanks for watching, thanks for listening, thanks for all your comments, your prayers, and your support. Shalom and Shavuot Tov Mishpacha.